What is going on, all my fellow Yankee fans? My name is Dillard, bringing you guys another video along with my co-host, Mr. Jad. Just like the last video, we're not going to try and make it like 20, 30 minutes, especially any longer than that would be way too long. Going to keep it short, nice and simple, talk about one topic at a time, maybe some other topics here and there if they relate to that topic, but try and stay focused on just one general topic. And the topic that we will be talking about today is Mr. Gleyber Day, Gleyber Torres de Caracas. I know my pronunciation of that was absolutely terrible, but whatever you know Gleyber Torres by, we're going to be talking about him. We're going to be talking about his hot start to the season. I know what I want to talk about him, but I'm going to go ahead and let you have the floor first, John, because I'm sure that you've got a lot of things that you want to say about Mr. Gleyber.
You know, it's not really a lot. I was coming through the Savant data to really try to figure out why he's gone on this crazy start. And I mean, so on Baseball Savant, I was just taking a look at a couple of things. There's a couple of things that really stood out to me. The first one is that his strikeout rate is incredibly low. So, I mean, that could tell you two things. One, he's not swinging and missing, or two, he's just like, he's not even letting him get the two strikes. He's just getting it done. He actually, right now, I'm looking at the data, his first pitch swing rate is 40%. So he swings to the first pitch about 40% of the time right now, which is an incredible jump from the previous year. It's up 12% from 2022. This is the highest rate he's had basically since 2019, which was 36.5%, which is when he had that monster year. We all remember that. He had like, what, 30-something home runs, and everybody was comparing him to Alfonso Soriano. But that's one thing, is he's getting it done early in the count, because we all know, like when we watch Judge, we're like, all right, the first pitch is a lot of times the best pitch you're going to see. You know, don't sit around too long and, you know, don't overstay your welcome. So he's swinging it early in the count. When they're throwing him, you know, pitches, he's reacting to them and hitting them for power. The other thing is, in previous years, he's had a negative run value on four-seamers and a positive value on off-speed pitches, which makes absolutely no sense for me. That means he's taking fastballs and he's really sitting off-speed for some reason, and I don't know why. But he had like a negative run value in 2021 and in 2020 on four-seam fastballs, which is like, that's the pitch that you're going to see more often than not. Like, you better be able to do damage on those pitches. And then last year, he had a resurgent year, and this year's off to a hot start, and he's got positive run values. And again, like I said, in 2019, when he had that crazy year, had a really good run value on four-seam fastballs. So he is hitting them hard. He's hitting them for power. His expected slugging percentage on four-seam fastballs of 602, which seems like a lot, but his expected slug in 2019 on four-seam fastballs was 691. So, I mean, that's the key. I don't know why he got away from this approach, but he, I guess, decided to try to go for off-speed pitches instead of fastballs. And then the final thing that I noticed on this, and it's another thing that I know you and I have both expressly screamed at for years. I mean, I feel like I could basically make a tape of me saying these things, but if you go and you look at the batted ball profile of Gleyber Torres this year, I just want to pull it up because, yes, is this it? Swing takes, no, run value, batted ball profile. He has a 52% opposite field percentage rate this season. 52% of his swings are opposite field. 32% are straight up the middle, which is good. I think that he's doing that more because of the shift. He's going opposite and he's going right up the middle. And it only has a 16% pull rate. Now, I know you and I have screamed until we are blue in the face when we look at people like Gary. Like, we're like, oh my God, please. You're so much better when you don't try to pull the baseball and you just hit it to right field. And so far, both his home runs this season are to right field. And I think that that is indicative of somebody who can just sit back and let the pitch travel a little more. And I think that is also really good for him to try to, A, catch up to the fastball, and also, B, try to actually be able to, in that situation, you hit the off-speed stuff to left field. We've seen that happen, like that curveball that he hit a couple days ago to drive in Judge. I think it was against the Phillies.
Well, there's definitely a few things that you actually already mentioned, things that I actually would like to kind of give my take on it and just kind of mention a little bit further. That would be, I don't know if the StatCast actually, his stats were updated when you did it, but I know when I did this right after the Yankees lost against the Guardians, when this video goes up yesterday, but for us today,
Oh no,
technically.
yeah.
At this time, when I looked at Gleyber Torres' StatCast profile, it said that he had a 637 slugging on fastballs this year,
That's pretty good.
and a 595 expected slugging on breaking balls. Now, why I found that so interesting, and you also mentioned it as well earlier, he has, as of right now, this is not an expected slugging like I mentioned with the fastballs and the breaking balls. This is specifically his slugging as of right now. So it's not great. It's a 333 slugging on off-speed pitches, which I'm glad that you mentioned that because according to StatCast, from the information that I saw on here, he struggled since last season with changeups. Now, this is basically just a new concept of him being able to struggle with changeups. Like, this isn't like something that has been going on for all of his career. Because if you go to his actual StatCast profile, and I will do this because I brought up like the whole list of all the years. So, like, for example, 2023, not doing so hot on changeups. And then 2022, like a 246 slugging. But you want to go beyond that. If you go to like 2021, much better slugging.
407 on changeups.
2020, 2019, his slugging in all those years are so much better than what he's gotten in the last few years. So it's really interesting. He's remained good with fastballs. I think the most interesting thing is his 595 expected slugging on breaking balls. I think that's really important because obviously I think one of the hardest pitches to forever hit would be a good old-fashioned nasty slider, like something that Chris Sale would throw, or a good old-fashioned like 12 to 6 o'clock curveball that like Clayton Kershaw would throw, and I'm not seeing these pitches like pitch after pitch after pitch. Like, I'm not an MLB player. All MLB players might have their different like reasonings, or different like minor league players or college players, whatever it may be. Everybody might have their different reasonings for which pitch they think is the most difficult, but I've always found like a good breaking ball, like a good curveball or a good slider are just some of the toughest pitches to hit. And so far, Gleyber's expected slugging looks really great on those kind of difficult pitches to overcome. Looks really good. And then this is right now. So this is a 504 WOBA that Gleyber has on fastballs, which is that's really, really good right now. And then a 488 with the WOBA on breaking balls. So it's not just an expected number that he's supposed to be good on fastballs and breaking balls right now. The WOBA literally is proving this. It's not expected WOBA. It's literally his WOBA on those specific pitches. So that's the information that you need right there, that that he's swinging the bat really well against fastballs. I don't think Gleyber's ever had a problem with fastballs. It's just kind of weird how all of a sudden in like the last few years, he's really struggled with changeups, when for most of his career until the last 2 years, he was really good on changeups. That was one of his best pitches to drive out of the park or get a good base hit, get a good single, double, whatever it may be, or drive a pitch into the short porch like he does all the time, and he's done that several times this year already, as you mentioned. And I don't know, I just found that was really interesting, but kind of going beyond that, because there is more stuff that I have listed on here that I wanted to mention. 32 line drive percentage. I love that. I love it so much. It's so amazing. I stress all the time on Twitter. I actually put it on today again for probably the 100th time. People get sick and tired of probably me mentioning this, but I always say,
I muted that phrase from the Twitter profile.
Elevating the ball is always so much better than hitting a grounder. Always. The league averages, and you can look at this on any year given basis. This year, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it may be. It will always be the exact same trend, and that is the highest OPS will always be on line drives. The second highest will always be on fly balls, and the lowest, and it's not even close, especially when you're comparing it from grounders to line drives, because even line drives, there's a significant gap between line drives and fly balls. From line drives to ground balls, it's not even comparable. I think some of the only guys who can get away with hitting grounders consistently, only because they hit the ball hard, and that's another thing I've stressed about, is exit velocity. If you are hitting a lot of grounders, the main problem with a lot of grounders is a lot of them are weak contact. And some of the people that I don't put in that same class because they simply hit the ball hard, even though their expected numbers or their OPS numbers are still much better on line drives and fly balls than grounders. Some of the only people who get away with it is like Yordan Alvarez or Giancarlo Stanton, like guys who, no matter what, if they're lifting or they're hitting into the dirt, they're hitting the ball hard. That's the best chance that you have of being a productive hitter. If you're only hitting ground balls, is you have to have good exit velocity, or you're just going to be, it's just like not going to turn out to be good numbers. It's going to be basically like IKF kind of numbers. It's just like, sometimes he can get good base hits. Sometimes IKF can do things with the bat, but most of the time, he's grounded out to double plays like he did today against Cleveland. Also, not going to mention the ran himself into an out on the bases, but that's a story for another day. But kind of going off based off of Gleyber again, 32% line drive percentage, amazing. It's great. He needs to keep doing that. 52%, like you said, going oppo taco, which that's always great, especially when he's at Yankee Stadium, because he's aiming for that short porch, aka we've seen him do it all the time. That's kind of where he thrives at, and I don't want him doing anything else if that's what works for him. There's no need in changing anything that's not broken. If it doesn't need to be fixed or it's not broken, then there's no need to change it, and he's doing well right now. 16% barrel percentage, really, really good. And here's some more interesting stats. For some stats that people don't probably look at most of the time, especially more casual fans, is Z contact and O contact. Now, Z contact is baseballs that are thrown inside the zone, and O contact is outside the zone. As of right now, he has an 85% inside the zone contact rate, and then he also has an 82.4 contact rate outside the zone. So that's what's telling me is that even if he's chasing out of the zone, which he's not chasing a lot because his BB percentage is through the roof and he's got a good OBP, which I needed to mention that earlier. He has right now a 537 on base percentage with a 24.4 BB percentage. So what that's telling me is even if Gleyber is swinging out of the zone, he's making contact and he's doing a good job getting a good piece of wood on that ball, even if it's out of the zone, and he's managing to get base hits through it and do damage. So that's really important. So even when people are trying to make him chase, and it might also be, it has a lot of factors, such as like it's a very small sample size. It's only April 10th, April 11th now when this video goes up. So it's only been like less than 2 weeks basically at this point of a sample size. We don't have anything near a month or 2 months or 3 months. So obviously anything can change even in just a few weeks, or if 1 week it could change dramatically. But as of right now, I absolutely love the approach that Gleyber has at the plate. Because like I said, with the Z contact and the O contact, he's never missing anything that's inside the zone, and even pitches outside the zone, he's doing damage and making contact with those pitches. Now, I would say I don't like a high contact rate with pitches out of the zone, because it also kind of hints that you like to chase a little bit more outside the zone, and hence then usually a lot of the times you get more weaker contact if you're chasing out of the zone, because it can be jamming you in, or then you can get pitches that jam you in the bat, and you're not going to do any damage with that. You're not going to fling it 100,000 miles away to planet Mars like Stanton would, because he has the strength to do that. But for like Gleyber, he wouldn't be able to do that. And then also pitches that not only jam you in, but are away from you, trying to make you chase outside of the zone in that fashion. Also, just not good formula for production, because you're not getting a good piece of wood on the bat. You know what I mean? So what that's telling me is, regardless of that, he's still able to do damage when it's outside the zone, inside the zone. He's not missing at all. He's doing complete damage whenever the pitches are thrown inside the zone, hence his OBP. He's got 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 24.4 BB percentage, like I mentioned, 1.247 OPS, 0.8 F4. For those who don't know what F4 is, Fangraphs version of WAR, which is wins above replacement. Gleyber Torres has the most F4 on the whole Yankees team right now. So there's that. 247 WRC plus, 5 stolen bases, so that's another thing about Gleyber. He doesn't just swing the bat really well right now. He's not just hitting doubles and hitting home runs to the short porch and doing damage that way and getting singles and then getting on base through the walks. He's also doing damage that once he gets on base, he's stealing a lot of bags, and I love that. And we've seen that a lot from the Yankees, not just to start this season, but last year. That seems to be the first time in a long time I remember the Yankees being so serious about running the bases aggressively. You know, Judge does it all the time. Rizzo isn't a guy that I think of as someone with high speed, but he even does it quite a bit of the time, steals bags. And I think that's really good formula for the team. I like that they have power. I like that a lot of the guys have good OBPs, good BB percentages, and don't just have to hit to get on base, but can also draw walks and let, you know, kind of the whole pass the torch or pass the bat mindset to the next guy and let him do that damage. Yeah, pass the baton. I like that. I think that's a perfect formula for winning baseball, and I don't know how anybody could complain about it. All right, well, that's pretty much it for me, too, because for the most part, I've been pretty happy with his defense. So I think he's obviously way more comfortable at second base than shortstop, and I think also him staying at second base will probably help his offensive numbers continue to trend to the path that they're going to, just because of the simple fact that he doesn't have to be so stressed out about playing shortstop, a position that he's been known to struggle at.
I think confidence goes a long way. I remember we always used to talk in the previous years about Gleyber Torres, and we're talking about the fact that like he makes mistakes in the field, and then he brings the field to the plate with him, and we just, you know, we wish that he would do well in the field, so that way he wouldn't have to worry about the field while he's at bat. And I think finally, I would love to say that he's at the point now where he's just, you know, confidence. It's like we talked about Chapman when Chapman was here. We're like, you know, he's got no confidence, which means he's basically just, you know, he's a throw, not a pitcher. But I think Torres, when he's in this mode right now, he's very confident. You know, he doesn't need to worry and need to, you know, think about, am I going to be able to field my position next inning? So, you know, I think that he's in a good spot right now, and I hope it keeps up.
But with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys have any suggestions in the future, definitely let us know so we can talk about it and just nail down that one conversation to the bone. Definitely make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification so you don't miss a video of any of the highlights or any of the videos that we do or any of the shorts that I also post and upload too, which Jad also helps me with the highlights and stuff. So definitely go give him a follow on Twitter and stuff, because he also helps this channel keep itself running when I have to go do stuff with my other job with minor league baseball and then soccer stuff. So, but outside of that, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Subscribe, like, do all that wonderful stuff, and we'll see you guys on the next video.